Okay, I think we're recording. What's up, everyone? This is Jacob Levy. I'm starting a brand new podcast called Podabilities, and I'm basically discussing anything and everything disabilities. And I have Drew Dees, who is a student at the University of Florida. Nice shirt, by the way. And he is looking to become a reporter and or anchor. Is that correct?
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I just wanted to get started. And Drew, first of all, thank you for being here. I know it's definitely an interesting time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So first off, just some general questions. Can you describe your experience or like your relationship with a disability?
Sure. So for me, it's I'm very proud to be disabled. I think for me, I always tell people, in the sense, I feel lucky and blessed that disability is all I've ever known. From day one, from the start, because I tell people all the time, it's gotta be. I couldn't imagine what people go through if they're able to walk and able to go and do, and then all of a sudden, within the snap of a finger, they're not able to any longer. So in that sense, I feel very fortunate, very blessed. This is my world. This is all I've ever known. So yeah, just growing up, it was very. It came naturally to me. It wasn't too tough per se because I was very blessed and very fortunate with to have two parents who supported me in all my endeavors and treated me no different than any other kid. You're gonna get in there and do that laundry. You're gonna get in there and wash those dishes. You're gonna get in there and clean that room.
Right.
The sky's the limit. You can do whatever you set your mind to. And that particular principle has carried me in all that I do in my personal life, in my professional life. You know, I don't take no for an answer. Can't, never could until you tried, right? So
Love it, love it. That should
that's
be a bumper sticker.
I know.
Love it.
I really liked that bumper sticker question that you had.
It's funny that you said, well, yeah, we'll get to that too. And it's funny you said that. I definitely agree. Like what you were saying about your parents, like they expect you to still, do everything and don't take no for an answer. One of my sayings, it's similar to that. It's that like a disability is not an inability to do something. In fact, I think it's an opportunity to like go another path in order to arrive at the same solution. And when you go that different path, I believe, I mean, plenty of people disagree, but I believe that this is where innovation lies. This is where
Exactly.
people think outside the box and like come up with new inventions, new ideas, new concepts, as opposed to just going the regular route of people of typical development.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're at the times of COVID, right? And I've been telling people all along, the world is up in arms. Like, oh my gosh, we have to change our ways. We have to
Right.
learn how to adapt to new environments and new things. And I'm like, well, for people with disabilities, we've been doing it all along. So I really think we have somewhat of an advantage on the rest of society in that sense because we've learned how to adapt to different changes in environments. We deal with getting denied medical equipment all the time from insurance. We deal with not being able to go to friend's house simply because why? Because it's not a universal design and it's not accessible.
Right.
So I really feel like we were sort of prepared more so than the rest of society. And
I
that's
agree. I agree. I think there's also something to say about, you know, self-isolation obviously has been a huge issue with the pandemic, but like I don't know, for people with disabilities, I feel like it's can kind of be sort of commonplace. Like for me, like I've had plenty of isolation prior to the pandemic, just with like figuring out my own stuff, my own career, like things like that. There's plenty of isolation. Do you feel the same way?
I do. I do. I think for me, I'm blessed with a great friend group and great support group, but definitely even more so, like yeah, I still feel those that sense of isolation and even myself, I had COVID back in September and
Oh wow.
that was quarantine is interesting for anyone, right? No one wants to do it. But when you're dealing with a person with a disability who has relies on personal care attendants and note takers and such for their education, and then within the drop of a hat, all those kind of stop, and your life is kind of put on hold because all those services, you'll have people come in and do the tasks that need to be done, like the laundry and the trash. But other than that, your life is like totally halted. So you have to find new ways to adapt, and essentially for those 2 weeks. Thankfully, it was during syllabus week that I got it because I wouldn't have been able to do my schoolwork if not, because I rely on personal care attendants to do like typing and things like that.
What's crazy to think, like to hop onto what you just said. I mean, people with disabilities, like in school or whatever, there's accommodations and modifications, right? Even in college, whether it's a note taker or modified assignments, whatever. But then with the pandemic, it's like a modification on top of a modification or an accommodation on top of another accommodation, which is, I mean, that's crazy. Like that's,
And the whole accommodation thing, it's very, I've said this all along as well, accommodations and things that we as people with disabilities have been trying to put in place for years. Now all of a sudden we're in the pandemic and voila, you get the whole caboodle. Like why
yeah.
why do we why were we fighting so long for something to happen and it never happened? But all of a sudden it takes a pandemic, such as for me, I'm in the broadcast journalism industry, right? Being able to work remotely from home sometimes would be a game changer.
Yeah.
Well, and before employers would be like, no, that's not going to happen. But now I really feel like the pandemic has helped me in a way, and it's going to help employers see that it is possible because most of the journalists I know are working from home right now.
I feel like a lot of it has, in fact, leveled the playing field
Mm-hmm.
for people with disabilities. Like, yeah, the whole work from home thing, larger employers, things like that. They're like, nope, you can't work from home, prohibited. Meanwhile, what do we do at an office? The same thing we can do anywhere in the world. Like
Exactly.
you're on conference calls, you're on this, you're on your computer. Like, why can't we do that anywhere? We
Exactly.
can. It's just that's the thing. Like, it's such a pivot. Like, companies are now realizing, oh, maybe we don't need 8,000 square feet of space. Like, people can work anywhere,
Yep. Maybe we can just have them work from home, and in the
save
end,
a lot of money.
it saves money for the organizations. They don't have so a light bill and all that stuff. We can have people working from home, so it's just a capitalization for everyone around, and we as people with disabilities, but it's also like helping the workforce as well.
Absolutely. I'm curious, how did you get started in reporting slash journalism?
Sure. So growing up, I've always loved the spotlight. I always loved wherever there was a camera or a microphone, you could find me. Um, and I really that was one of the things. But more so in everything that I've done in my life up until this point, I've done it as a way to shed light on people with disabilities, to let them know, but also to let other people know that may not have a disability that we are no different. We can achieve the same goals and dreams. We have the same dreams and aspirations as anyone else, as having a family, as of being successful in life, all those things, right? So
Yeah.
in high school, I did. My family is a very sports oriented family, right? So I grew up cheering on my siblings at football, baseball games, basketball games, you name it. I was there on the sidelines, and that was great. But I always longed for a sense of belonging in the family. I wanted my siblings to cheer me on in a way. And so in high school, they had just came out with the adapted shot put. It's an event in track and field. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's a still ball, and you see just how far you can throw it, right? So I did that in high school, and I did that just for the love of the sport, right? The love of being included, and I'm a big proponent of inclusion. But one thing led to another, and I won 4 consecutive state titles for my school doing that. Trenton High School, and I really love that. But I always wanted someone else to compete against me with a disability, and that didn't happen during my 4 years of doing that. But the very next year, the local news station did a big news story on me, and because of that news story, a little girl named Annie now competes herself, and she too is a state champion. So for me, yeah, were the medals and fame, was that fun? Sure, but everything that I do is for the next generation of people with disabilities. It's not just about me, it's about others. So I say all that to say that kind of news is my next, path to that same principle, right? You
Right.
know, how often it's 2020, almost 2021, and how often do you see a person with a physical disability on TV? You don't, as a news reporter or a news anchor. So I believe that it's time to change that. So I hope that I can be the one to be the trailblazer, just to kind of, shed more light on people with disabilities, to let others know that we are capable of doing the same things that they want to do, and to let others know, such as myself, maybe those younger kiddos out there, little boys and little girls, give them someone to look up to. Because that's something that I can say that I didn't really see growing up. You don't see a lot of myself within the mainstream media and have someone to look up to. So I really hope at the end of the day that I can serve a purpose and do that. While also the same thing that every journalist wants, We love, being in the know about our community, being involved and letting people know about what's going on in the world. So all that to say, those are my big reasons.
That's wonderful. And I totally agree. I think it's so important to build awareness, just the fact that you're doing something you're passionate about, but you're also, like, in a secondary sense, you're doing something you love, but you're also showing people of typical and atypical development that you can do whatever you want. Like, yeah, there might be modifications, accommodations, things like that, but like, you're doing your thing. You're doing what you like, sets just excites you.
Yeah.
And I don't think everyone can say that. Everyone has different circumstances, of course, but I think people with disabilities, like, it's funny. It's like, it makes me think of entrepreneurs. I
Mm.
think people with disabilities, and especially the pandemic, has made this very clear that we've kind of always been entrepreneurs. We've always had to solve our own problems. And entrepreneurs are like constant firefighters, putting out fires left and right. Um, Same with people with disabilities. Even if we don't run a business, like, yes, everybody has problems. Understood. But I think with people with disabilities, we have problems on top of problems on top of problems. And it's like, it doesn't it doesn't rest. It's 24/7. And I think with that mindset where there's always something we have to fix, like, for ourselves, for everyday life, I think that puts us in that kind of, I don't know, entrepreneurial mindset. Whether you're selling something or not, it puts you in this mindset of constantly solving problems. And so what that does, I believe, is you figure out how to solve your problems and you figure out how to help other people solve their problems.
Yep, yep. And to me, that's the greatest fulfillment. I always say the struggles and trials and tribulations that I'm facing it for a reason. I'm facing it so that the next generation to come after me doesn't have to face these same battles.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, and it's like it's storytelling, right? You're teaching people through lessons learned, morals, things like that, wins, losses. And then inevitably there will be other problems that people have to solve, but at least you've solved those problems for the next generation, to build upon. Um, any wins that you can share, like, in your career, in your life, for other people with disabilities? Like a quick anecdote.
Absolutely. So my biggest one to date. I just sat here and I told you about what I want to do and that I'm essentially living my dream, right? Well, no dream comes without a price, you know. I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't faced rejection, because I have. I faced lots of rejection, believe it or not. Couple different times I applied for different internships within the area, you know. Every good journalist or every journalist needs at least one internship. It's not necessarily required within our program, but it's something that we need to like put us on a hierarchy of okay, you worked at a station, you know the ins and outs of news. So I went to multiple career fairs here at the University of Florida and just searching for that internship. Well, I faced rejection after rejection and no after no, and I'm like, what? It was getting to the point where I was like, okay, what's wrong with me? What am I doing around here? What am I not conveying? What? But in reality, it really, at the end of the day, it's not because people don't want to give us that internship. They have lots of hesitation. You know, I don't know why, but they do. So, but knowing me, what did I say? Can't is not a word in my vocabulary, and I'm not gonna take no for an answer. So I kept coming back and kept going back, and finally, I showed up at the career fair. I'm like, you know what? The station is all the way in Orlando, and I'm based in Gainesville, and I know there's gonna be moving pieces to the puzzle that I'm gonna have to figure out there. But why not? What do I have to lose? So
Right.
I remember going over to their table at the career fair, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Drew Dees." I shook their hand. I told them what I was looking for, and the first words out of their mouth was like, "You know, you're gonna have to travel to Orlando, right?" And I think I shocked them a lot because I'm like, yep, I do. I'm aware. And they're like, you know, you're going to have to do this, right? Not necessarily telling me no. They were just, you know, telling me everything that one needs to know to gain an internship. And
But
I'm
is
sure.
I don't mean to interrupt, but is that how they phrased it?
So
It
they
sounds
just,
kind of condescending, to be honest.
yeah, like I took it as they were just letting me know about all the, like, because they were like almost, you know, like, hey,
Just so you know, like that's what it sounds like to me.
yeah, but there's another catch to the story. So I I you know went away from the table. I felt pretty confident. I'm like, you know what? I told them everything there is to know about myself. And a couple months later, I get in my inbox asking me if I want to intern at their station. I'm like, you no way. So I faced lots of rejection, and I got that internship, and I was able to get an internship outside of the local market. And I truly believe that that's a blessing in disguise because had I gotten a local internship here in Gainesville, I wouldn't have the networking and the resources that I have because of that internship. The news director and I are still in close contact, still to this day. But she tells me every day, she's like, I'm gonna be honest. She's like, as soon as you went away from our table, we were like, holy crap! Like, how are we gonna make this work? But she knew deep down, she was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but this has gotta work. And she took a chance on me. And to me, that's all it takes. That
Yeah,
one
a
yes,
chance. All you just need one chance. Yeah.
that one person to give you that yes.
To that, the lady that said that, I would say that, you know, welcome to the life of a person with a disability. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we're all about taking chances every waking hour. You know, whether it's a career choice or just a life choice or anything, just navigating life. So that's awesome. That's a great success story. Um, I think one great thing to pull out of that, and this is like universal, um, everybody gets taunted or intimidated by failure. It's pretty natural, right? Um, but I think what I've learned, and after hearing your story, is that failure is simply a part of success. And I think Elon Musk said too, like, if you're not failing, then you're not accomplishing something. So failure is like basically inevitable. It's a key ingredient to success. What do you think?
I truly believe that, and I'm thankful for my struggle. I'm thankful for my failures because it's really put a whole new lens per se on life for me. There's many other students that they're succeeding here at the college level, but you know what? They haven't faced rejection. So when they go out to the workforce and they do get that first no of their entire life, they're
Right.
gonna be like, "What the heck is wrong?" But
Well,
for
that's
me,
the funny thing is like, I mean, I did not get straight A's by any means in school. School is not the real world. You can
mhm,
get straight A's, that's nice, but like you can get a swift kick in the pants from any employer after college. Like it's just they don't align like
exactly.
academic performance with real life performance or just real life.
So
So
I
that's it.
really think that we have the upper hand as people with disabilities as far as that goes because we know what it's like to not only face failure, but we know what it takes to overcome it. And we know that, we're not going to be stuck in this pitfall forever. Where
Right.
there's will, there's a way.
We know I think we know how to embrace failure. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like if I know that something's going to be hard and like it's like there's two doors at the end of the hallway. Failure, there's a door for failure and there's a door for success. But I've been through that, and I'm sure you have as well, through that failure door so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see it. I need to know that, like, yeah, I could fail. Absolutely. But I guess just having that preconceived notion and knowledge and experience, um, I don't know, it's oddly comforting,
Yep,
to know that, like, yeah, I could fail, but I've done this before. I've failed plenty of times. And from those failures, I have seen success.
exactly. Exactly.
Oh, okay, awesome, awesome. Um, I probably have a million other questions, but I guess one of the just to like sum things up, if you could write something on a bumper sticker, and I definitely took this from Tim Ferriss. He had something similar with like doing a billboard with graffiti or whatever. If you could write something on a bumper sticker, what would you want to tell the world?
I would just want to two things.
Okay, two bumper stickers. We'll go with two at a front and a rear bumper, or two bumper stickers on the back.
just just take a chance on people with disabilities. More for often than not, I might be a little biased here, and we both might be a little biased to what I'm about to say, but I think that we are just as good as candidates, if not better candidates than any employee that any employer is going to hire out there because of our life experience. Because
Okay,
of
awesome. So just take a chance on PWD.
exactly.
Awesome. And you had another one, I think?
Yeah, and I would just for people with disabilities, I would just say never give up and keep
Yes.
fighting a good fight.
I love it. I actually made a video at the beginning of the pandemic when I was like losing my mind a little, just talking about like my disability, and I put little movie clips.
Hmm.
And you said never give up. One of the clips I put in, like talking about my disability and like persevering, was the clip from Rocky. It was one of the newer Rocky movies where he's like talking to his son. And he's like, you can't quit. Every time you get knocked down, you got to pull yourself right back up. And
Yep.
I think it's just a very poignant clip of just perseverance. Like you're gonna get knocked down, but it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up.
Amen. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Drew. Well, I'm very grateful for you speaking with me. Um, Definitely some awesome pieces of knowledge about your life, your career. Also, to say thank you, I want to help you in your search for a job. I do some career coaching on the side. I'm going to get you a free like job seeker cheat sheet for you. I want to show you exactly how to find aka the hidden job market. But I just want to help you like find those hidden opportunities for journalism, internships, things like that. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do. Sound good?
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that we got to collaborate and connect, and you know, the power of social media. The power of social media is all I have to say.
I totally agree, and I think it's also what we're doing is we're using social media in a positive light. There is
Mm-hmm.
plenty of garbage on social media
Yep.
because it's the
Yep.
internet, like, right? I mean, it's just, like, so I think what we're doing is awesome. We're helping people, we're inspiring people. Um, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're just trying to shed some light on the first two and educate people on the last one, the ugly.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, and let's definitely keep in touch because I believe there's power in numbers. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Drew. So we got Drew Dees, University of Florida, an aspiring reporter and anchor.
yep.
And this is Jacob from Podabilities signing out. See you later.